Talking to a narcissistic person is like stepping onto unstable ground, or worse, into quicksand. At first, it might seem like the conversation is going smoothly, like you found common ground. But then, slowly and subtly, the terrain shifts beneath you. Before you realize it, you're no longer on solid footing. You're disoriented, trying to make sense of what just happened. Somehow, you're the one in the wrong, even if you know deep down that you didn't say or do anything inappropriate. Before we dive in, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you find this content valuable. It really helps support the channel. You're also welcome to leave a comment. While I don't respond, as it keeps me focused on the message I want to share, I do read and appreciate your thoughts and perspectives. Now, let's go back to how they operate. They thrive on confusion, manipulation, and control. Their goal isn't to exchange ideas or seek understanding at all, it's to destabilize you, conquer you, colonize you, enslave you, hurt you, and ultimately demonize you. They don't listen to understand, they listen to collect your words, to reassemble them into a weapon. They take what you say and twist it into something unrecognizable, to incriminate you, paint you as bad, weak, weird, stupid. They may act as if you've hurt them, as if you owe them something, as if you are irrational or cruel, all while they are the ones weaving a web of deception around you. Their objective is not conversation. Their objective is to twist, dominate, violate, brutalize, conquer, to imprison you in stories they've built using fragments of your own words, but in a grotesque distortion. Or worse, they trap you in complete lies, realities that do not exist but in which they force you to defend yourself, explain, or beg for clarity that will never come. If you try to reason with them, you will find yourself in an endless loop of arguments that make no sense. They will shift topics, distort meanings, pull you into contradictions that don't exist, until you are left exhausted, doubting yourself, and wondering how the conversation spiraled into madness. Because that's the point. There is no truth in their world, only control. And you are merely the prey they feed on. But this isn't just about deep narcissists. If you've been through deep narcissistic abuse or a profound awakening, you begin to see it everywhere, in everyday conversations, in families, friendships, workplaces, even in fleeting interactions with strangers. It's just more hidden, more covert, wrapped in the illusion of normalcy. We are conditioned to believe that because something is common, it must be right. That because people who engage in these behaviors appear normal and good, their actions must also be good. But that is the lie. Normalization is a weapon here. The truth is, what most people consider an ordinary conversation is often nothing more than a ritual of energy harvesting, a silent act of taking, twisting, and replacing pieces of you with pieces of them. This isn't just mindless habit, many so-called normal people know exactly what they're doing. Some do it consciously and deliberately, feeding on the energy of others, shaping conversations to keep themselves in control. But even those who don't fully acknowledge it still participate half-consciously. They sense what's happening but dismiss it, because everyone does it, because it's the only way to survive and belong in a society built on these hidden transactions of power. To refuse to engage in this game is to risk exclusion, to stand outside the structure that holds most relationships together. This is why, when you finally recognize it, when you stop participating, people react as if something is wrong with you. Because to them, extraction, domination, and distortion aren't flaws in communication, they are communication. They are the only language they know. It's not just about controlling the conversation. The whole conversation is a violent and vicious act, normalized to the point where few even notice it happening. If it's not you they are feeding on, then they must chew on someone or something else, and they want you to engage in that. You are too awakened to engage in that, you know what this is and don't want to participate in this cannibalistic, predatory, or parasitic feast. Since you don't want to feed on anything like that, what's left is that you must become the snack, the meal. They need this parasitic, predatory energy harvest, and you are literally suffocating and starving them if you don't engage in that. This is a social norm. This pattern is everywhere. It plays out in families where roles are assigned and enforced through guilt and obligation, in workplaces where power dynamics dictate who is allowed to speak and who must submit, in friendships where one person constantly dominates while the other shrinks. It shows up in movies, talk shows, political debates, and media narratives, all reinforcing this idea that conversation is about winning, overpowering, and reshaping reality to serve one side over the other. Most people have never even experienced a truly healthy conversation, one where no one is trying to extract, dominate, or twist. And because they have never known anything else, they don't even realize what they are missing. But once you see it, you can never unsee it. The ritual of energy theft. A toxic conversation is not just a disagreement or a difference in opinion. It is an act of theft. It is about stealing from you, your thoughts, your emotions, your clarity, and replacing what was taken with pieces of the other person. They rob you of your sense of self and implant their distortions, their confusion, their chaos. It is a violent and vicious act, yet it is so ingrained in human interaction that it is considered normal. This dynamic isn't just limited to one-on-one interactions. It plays out on a grand scale, in movies, talk shows, TV programs, social media, and political debates. We are constantly shown and taught that communication is not about connection, but about power. People interrupt, provoke, misinterpret, and manipulate, not to exchange ideas, but to control the flow of energy. It is never about true listening. It is about who can extract the most attention, who can shape the narrative, who can leave the other person drained and disoriented. Most people have never even experienced a truly healthy conversation, one where this ritual of energy theft is absent. A conversation where there is no battle to be won, no need to guard oneself, no silent war of domination and submission. Instead, what people have come to accept as normal is a constant exchange of power, one person taking, the other losing. The illusion of engagement. In these energy-draining interactions, you may think you are participating, but in reality, you are being played. You are responding, explaining, justifying, trying to clarify, but you are not actually being heard. The more you engage, the deeper you sink into the trap. And this is exactly what they want. Your confusion, your emotional reaction, your attempt to make sense of the nonsense, it all fuels them. They leave the conversation feeling charged, victorious, in control. You leave feeling empty, and burdened at the same time, exhausted, as if something was taken from you, because it was, and more, you were used as a dumping ground for their sins, impurities. The conversation is nothing more than a scapegoating ritual. How to protect yourself. The best approach? Detachment. We often want to believe that if we just explain ourselves better or try harder, things will improve, especially if the toxic person is someone we care about. But with most people, this hope is futile. The cycle will repeat itself endlessly, leaving you drained, confused, and full of self-doubt. If you must interact with them, keep conversations light and superficial, stick to topics like the weather, food, or small daily events. Observe, but don't engage deeply. Even the most innocent discussion can, in an instant, take a dark turn into chaos. One moment you're talking about coffee, and the next, you're caught in an argument about corruption, disasters, or morality, trapped in a conversation you never meant to have. The key is to recognize the pattern early and disengage before you sink. Protect your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting, and with toxic people, there's never a battle to win, only one to walk away from. Ultimately, solitude and no contact with society is the best way. A new way forward. Most people have never tasted a conversation where there is no theft, no manipulation, no hidden transaction of power. They have never known what it feels like to speak and be truly heard, to listen and feel no pressure to react or defend. But once you experience it, even once, you realize how unnatural and draining most interactions truly are. The world does not teach us how to communicate without predation, but we can unlearn. We have the power to step out of the ritual. The moment you stop engaging in these exchanges, you reclaim your energy. You stop feeding the machine that thrives on your confusion and exhaustion. Unfortunately, it might be very hard, or even impossible, to find a partner for a truly healthy conversation, because each person must first cleanse themselves and deconstruct the parasitic nature of the world. This is why, once again, solitude may be the only path forward. Engaging only in necessary surface-level conversations with people who you must engage with, e.g. in shops, for example, where there is no chance of them pulling you into their web.